Hey everybody, and welcome to session 5. Session 5 has a lot in common with session 4, and I made you a 12-minute welcome video for session 4. What it has in common, the biggest thing, is part 2 of the major project. And since I've already talked about that in the session 4 video, and I've already got a whole page about tips for session 2, so let's go ahead and skip up to that really quickly. If you look later in the session 5 module, after the session 5 activities page, there's this technology integration project tips for part 2 page. Well, that page also appeared in session 4. So hopefully you've already read it. Maybe you've watched the optional video walkthrough if you needed it, or you've read it. Reading it is sufficient. And you guys are well on your way interviewing people for part 2 of the major project. If you want more of a talk through about this, go back, watch my session 4 welcome video, and then watch this crazy long video. It's on this page, Technology Integration Project, Tips for Part 2, second paragraph, video, interviewing, and the analysis of interviews, if you want to walk through of this very long, crazy page. But yeah, you should be kind of cruising along through Part 2. Let me know if you have any questions. I think interviewing is fun. I am a shy person, but I love interviewing and listening to interviews and analyzing them, trying to find meaning out of them. So I think you'll enjoy this part. This is the fun part, in my opinion. Okay, so what are we doing in the session? Well, the session's pretty low key. It is a 2-week session. 2-week session. And I will be out of town for the second week. I will be super out of town, super out of pocket, really. I mean, I'll be checking my email every day, but I don't plan on doing a ton of work in terms of grading. I'm hoping to have all my grading done during that second week, and I don't see myself doing a lot of discussion board interaction during the second week, though I will try to come in. So what I'd like to do is use the first week of this 2-week module to actually interact with the discussion, a case of innovation. So if you want to be more likely to brush up against me and talk to me and that kind of thing, then please come in during the first week of the session. So please plan to do that. I've made a note in the course plan that I will probably be coming in during the first week because I will be in a training, an intensive 40-hour plus training, and I also have to drive to Cincinnati and back to get to it. So that's 2 more days that I'm just sort of not able to sit at a computer and work very well. So yeah, 2 days of driving, and then 5 days of training, 40 hours plus. And then I probably have homework every night for that training too. So it's going to be crazy. But the timing will work out good. So you've got 2 weeks. We've got 2 things due in the session. We've got a discussion. It's really just you taking what you're reading about, and you're going to think about an innovation that's happened in your work environment, or maybe it's one that you've heard about. Maybe a good friend of yours can tell you about an innovation and kind of talk about the characteristics and then what went wrong with it and that kind of thing. So you're just going to be using what you're reading and hopefully applying some of that and discussing it and learning about what other people have seen in their contexts as well. So that's the discussion. Make sure that you follow the advice about making an initial post where you address what's being asked for, and then you also follow up with a couple of peers. So be sure you pay attention to that. And that's mainly it. We've got a few new readings. These readings are a little bit bigger picture. We've got Fullen et al. Talking about 8 forces for leaders of change. So 8 things, if you're leading change, what are the 8 things that these leaders, Fullen is one of the biggies in teacher professional development, Kelcher. What do they say are 8 things that you should do if you're leading change? They've got some really great suggestions. And then that's more of the positive article. And then a little more negative, like things to avoid, is the Why Transformation Efforts Fail article. Excellent article. And that's not really particular to K-12. I think the 8 forces for leaders of change, I think that one's more pertaining to K-12 because it's from the Staff Development Council. Yeah, it's definitely pertaining to education. And then the Why Transformation Efforts Fail, that's sort of across the board. It's beyond the industry of education. It's across any kind of change efforts. It's kind of cool. We zoom out away from K-12 for a moment there, but it's completely applicable. And then we've got some summary notes on the consequences of innovations. And then I have this like crazy long list of bulleted questions. Those are the questions that these summary notes address. And then some optional readings that you might find useful. Now remember, in part 3 of the major project, you're going to have to show off your knowledge. And you show it off by, you can use these articles that you see here, both the required ones and also the optional ones. They can be used. So you go into those articles, you find suggestions for how you manage change, and you use those, and when you write out your plan, your part 3 plan, you cite these as backing up your arguments for why you do your plan the way you do it, why you are proposing to run your diffusion plan the way you are. Use this stuff as your backup to strengthen your arguments. Anytime, if you become the master of strengthening your arguments, you do better work because it's sort of research-based, it's based on what other people have done, that they have demonstrated might work. That strengthens your argument, but it also really makes your professors happy, at least in this program, when you do that too. But it makes you more legitimate. Everything you do is more legitimate if you can say, oh, well, I've done a lot of reading on the topic, and this is what other people have tried in a similar context. Their context was different in these ways, so since mine's not quite the same, then I'm going to make these other changes, variations to what they've done. But you know, if you can seem informed, it makes your work better, and it makes other people believe that your work will be better. It makes you more legitimate. So show off your knowledge, show off that you've gone through these articles and that you're picking up these nuggets, these sort of best practice nuggets. And you're going to show those off in part 3. Okay? Let's see. Is there something else I wanted to say? There was one other thing I wanted to say. If you click the content button in CourseDen, all right, this video is at 7 minutes, that's not too bad. If you click the content button and you go to this table of contents on the left, and then you kind of scroll down a little bit underneath session 7, you'll see an all readings in course page. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but if you click on that, the cool thing about that is that I've tried to collect all of the readings that are in the course, but I actually organize them differently. I used to just copy paste them straight from the modules, but then I thought, you know what, the modules have them in one way, and I'm going to reorganize them thematically on this page. So pretty much all the articles, even the optional ones, have been linked here so that, you know, when it comes time to do your part 3, you know, and you maybe don't want to go through each module, here they all are in one spot there to help you, including your educational research how-tos that I've linked as well, and also the group work stuff. That's not really relevant to, those two things may not be so relevant to your part 3 plan, but I thought, you know, those are there to help you. So, all right, that's session 6. Is it session 6? No, that's session 5. I hope session 5 goes well, and I hope you'll keep me in the loop on how things are going, and I'm going to try to stay in there, stay involved, make announcements when big questions arise, help you guys out however you need it. So let me know how I can help.